I'm going to call the meeting of the Londonderry Budget Committee to order at 7 o'clock for our September 18th meeting. We will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's be seated. All right, so first, public comment. There's no one from the public here. So do we want to go forego opening, closing public comment?
Yes. So moved.
If needed.
Yeah.
All right. And if someone comes, we have public comment at the end. So, so for committee business, so first the approval of the August 18th minutes. Are there any changes that need to be made?
And that I saw.
All right, I'll see none. Can I have a motion to approve the August 18th minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative.
Should I abstain because I wasn't at the meeting?
Yeah, I'm
You can-
abstaining too.
All right, so abstention
I'm-
from Nicole and Jason.
Kate and Jason.
I abstain.
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Kate.
That's okay.
That's okay.
All right, so now we have a series of documents and a presentation from our town manager and from Kirsten. So I guess, do you guys want to
Do you have
start
a
off with are we just gonna go in order of what you've listed before, strategic plan all the way through?
Yeah.
All right.
Talk about strategic plan?
Sure, yeah. So you all have in front of you a document that kind of explains what the council has charged our town manager with putting together, which is a strategic plan for fiscal year 27. I'm sure you all are familiar with the master plan that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Strategic plan's a little bit different. The strategic plan is designed to be 1 year. It's focused on discrete actionable items that provide the roadmap for what you want to accomplish that year. Whereas the master plan is kind of the overarching vision, right? Strategic plan is particularly important for you all to be involved in and you all to understand, because the strategic plan then drives the budget, right? Because you want to align your budget priorities with your strategic priorities. So Sean's looking to present this in the spring of 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're looking for is input, and I see, there's some notes scribbled, I love that already, that's awesome. We're looking for input from the boards and committees, as well as departments and the public. I'm hoping they can hear me okay with this, my voice is a little bit thin. When we're looking for these things, we're looking for specific objectives. And I'm gonna not read off the entire sheet, but the objectives, the big picture you want to accomplish. The action items are the actual steps you're gonna take to accomplish it, and the KPIs are how we're gonna measure it. So for each objective, we want to have action items and KPIs. That's really important, so we know if we're achieving it. And so we're asking each board to kind of brainstorm with us. And Sean's gonna kind of lead you through, kind of coach you through taking these ideas and bringing them into actual objectives. And what we'll do after we've done this with each board, each department, we'll pull them all together, we'll sort them into kind of functional areas of government, and we'll present that draft plan to the council.
Yeah, so this is something that's done nationwide. It's called strategic budgeting, priority-based budgeting. That not a whole lot. Well, actually, there's only one other community in New Hampshire that's done that. It's the city of Lebanon. So we would be the second to actually do this. So what you're looking at is you may have some items that are longer-term items, but we're looking at what are we going to do to get further along towards that objective in the next year, and then we look at the 2 years after that. City of Lebanon has financial stability and sustainability. It's one of their functional areas. So there's a number of items, and they have a lot of debt, so they have a debt management issue, how they're going to deal with that. Other things could be getting to the point where you're not using unassigned fund balance to hedge the tax rate, which we're at that point right now here. So there's different things like that that would more fit into your role. So what we're doing is we're going to all the boards and committees and all the departments of the town. And then once we're done that, we're going to go out to the public on several occasions to get public feedback on those. And that will help us shape what these objectives should be and what the action items should be and what we can realistically accomplish. It's not a wish list. I can't stress that enough. It has to be realistic, otherwise it's a nice plan that sits on a shelf and looks good, but doesn't do anything. So it's important that whatever we do, that we're out there and working on that every day, and we're talking to people about that and measuring our success. And if we're not achieving that success, why? And what we're gonna do to get there. So I would suggest, and probably most there are communities across the country, Germantown, Tennessee, Union City, California, Fort Collins, Colorado, have notable strategic plans. You know, they call them comprehensive plans, and we call them master plans here. So this will complement the master plan. So we will be looking at the longer term master plan and say, okay, what pieces of that are we gonna start working on in the interim basis? They're not by department, they're by function. Some places will have this by department, because we organize as departments, but that's not what our citizens care about. They care about particular functions, right? What are we trying to accomplish? And there may be multiple departments that are involved with that. And there may be multiple departments that are involved in different functional areas. The city of Lebanon has 10 of them. It's on their website. You can certainly take a look at it. Ours will be different than theirs. Lebanon took things that Fort Collins, Colorado, in terms of formatting, Germantown, Tennessee, and Union City, California, used in a couple of other communities, and they created something which is very different than any of those other communities, right? They're all slightly different. So it's not a cookie cutter way of doing this. And what we create here in Londonderry will be very different than what Lebanon has. I guarantee you what it will look like, because the priorities are different in every community. So, you're an important piece of that. I would suggest to you, if you wish to be, obviously we can't tell any board or committee they have to be involved with this, but to the extent that we could get your help, I think it would be great, because I use that to drive the budget process. What are our strategic objectives? Okay, is this related to that? If it's not, then why is that a priority? Because the things to achieve those objectives should be our priority. And we're working on them all the time, and we're looking at them on a monthly basis to see where we are with all of these. And it's very transparent. Our public gets to see them, and they see those status reports in there. So that's kind of a broad overview. We'd like to know what you think. And we don't have to do this today. I mean, we didn't give you time to think about this. We could do a more facilitated session where we actually go through this and write it down and show you what it looks like up on the screen and kind of rough it out. Some boards and committees prefer just to have their members come up with it. They don't have the time because they're busy. So they just said, put that together. Or members of this committee, if you want to go to the public session, provide your feedback there. Departments, some of them have asked us to do facilitated sessions, which we are going to do with their staff. Others would prefer to do it themselves, which is fine too. So there's a lot of flexibility here. We're not really interested in making anybody do anything. We want them to kind of work through this themselves. We don't have to make things up. We think about what the priorities are, right? And those need to be put in one place. So when our citizens look at it, these are the objectives of the town of Londonderry, what we're trying to accomplish here. And this is where we're at with those.
I guess,
Sorry, so you want to implement this for this upcoming budget season that we're,
Well, it'll ideally, so that when we get this done, we'll be starting the next budget.
got it, so 20.
It's the 28 budget, right? Because
That sounds more.
the way it works is you do this first.
Yeah.
To me, a budget, it never ends. So
Yeah.
once you've passed one, you're going in and you're updating your strategic objectives. And then from there, the way it worked up there is in January, because they're a calendar year budget. Budget was passed in December. In January, departments and boards and committees are working on updating the strategic plan, the status reports and all that. Those get sent back to in that case, the city manager's office. They get roughed out, and then we have community engagement sessions, and then we go to workshops in April, and in May, there's the budget overview. And I'm looking at a similar schedule for us here. So that may there be a budget overview, and they would approve that the council approves the strategic plan. Our council doesn't approve any strategic plan here telling us where we're going. They should be doing that. I should not be driving that bus. The elected officials should be telling us, this is what we want you to do after you've received the public feedback, the feedback from staff, and the feedback from the boards and committees. Go and accomplish these things to the extent that you can within the resources that we have. And then when we're looking at the budget, we're tying the budget items to that. What does this have to do with those strategic objectives?
Yep.
And if it doesn't, then is it really that important to us at the end of the day?
So to streamline kind of that comment about the timeline and the budgets and the fiscal years, so this will be presented in the spring of fiscal year 26. It will be in effect during fiscal year 27, and it will
Right.
drive the fiscal year 28 budget. So that's how it relates to our current and next two
I
fiscal
see,
years.
okay.
And like I said, every year we update it. Once you have it, it's updating it is not too difficult because generally these things don't change that often. Some of them new ones might come in, but for the most part, it stays the same other than the status reports as to where we are.
So I guess I know what we could do to help you out. I maybe like our October meeting, come together, after taking a look at this after a month, some initial thoughts, some initial ideas, get them down on paper, send them over to your way, and then maybe like in February, once we're through budget season, after we've gone through the budget process, if we have any other ideas for that last meeting before the elections, just whatever thoughts that we have, put those together and send them your way. What do you guys think about that?
That sounds good.
I think it sounds good because it gives the new members an opportunity to go through a budget season and
Yeah.
see how it goes, and then offer chances for improvement and things like that.
Absolutely.
And the key with it too is kind of building off what Sean said there, is that this is an initial conversation.
Yep.
If we come back in October and write down some of those objectives, that's still not the end of the conversation.
Right.
Yep.
Like you said, right, this is an evolving document. This is first contact during this process that is going to last until it's presented, so.
So
And-
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry, could I just ask a question? So it sounds like the kind of thing that belongs in the objectives is what we would like to see potentially, how we'd like to maybe influence the budget. But my question is, would procedural objectives also
Yeah.
live there, right?
Sure.
Because as being a new person, to the team here, I don't know. I have some feedback on the procedures.
We have a lot to talk about when it comes to
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I want to totally change this process, the CIP process. I think some significant changes need to occur in all of our processes. I expect that, as I indicated, an elongated process that begins much earlier. We've got to do training with our staff in the winter. Budget 101 development needs to clearly happen. I like data and performance measures in budgets. We don't have any of that, and of course, you've had many years of default budgets, so it's basically departments, this is what you got for this year, it's not, you know what I mean? Instead of tying things to real costs, for instance, if we have this many kilowatt hours of electricity, we should be able to project into the next year, based on a 3-year average, unless there's some other factor, how much electricity we're gonna use, and then we can project what that rate's gonna be, same thing, how many gallons of gasoline. Right now, we don't have that. We had the number from the previous year, and there's no methodology by which we calculate that. We should be able to come and tell you, okay, this is how we got to this number. And we don't have that here. So that's down to the micro level, right? All of our codes, line item codes that you normally see, they all have to be modernized to meet the DRA requirements. It's a requirement, it's not optional. And we've got a plan in which to do that. And we'll talk about that's an agenda item that's coming up in terms of the OpenGov financing software. That's the time to do all that and fix all of that. So that way you can do benchmarking with other communities. You can sort of do that now, but not easily. So that there's a whole lot of things that need to occur in
Yeah.
terms of how the budget is presented. And I've implemented a few of those things, so that I've had such little time to do
Sure,
that.
yeah.
For right now, but it really, I was talking to the group the last time, I mean, to me, it's completely unfair for us to go up on November 1st and hand you this packet and say, okay, we're gonna talk about the 3 biggest budgets of the town today. You've had no chance to read
Yeah.
something that's that thick, or hopefully electronic format. That to me is not the way to do business. That leaves you completely unprepared for that. The best I'm gonna be able to do is probably get it to you 7 days in advance, but that's not enough to be able to read all that material. Have the opportunity to ask us questions in between before you even get there. That's just, seems like anathema to me. That's not really, that doesn't serve you well, and you have a job to do, right? And you can't do that well if you don't have the information we're supposed to provide to you well in advance to be able to do your work.
Got it. Thank you.
So it's something like what I'm thinking of, like something, find a way of, demonstrating to the public why something is an investment. So I'm thinking about, DPW and how their trucks are all out in the open air. And if we build them a garage, right, that's probably a multi-million-dollar investment, but it means it will preserve the life of the trucks by maybe 4 to 5 years, which will decrease the amount we need to spend on new vehicles, which, will make ourselves whole within 10 years on the cost of the garage by not having to replace the vehicles as much and do as much maintenance on it. Is that something?
So the way you would probably write that is to extend the life span, the longevity of DPW vehicles.
Yep.
One of the action items would be to get on the overhead cover for those.
Yep.
And obviously the
Yeah.
facility is one of the ways to do that, but there also may be other ways to do that. You don't want to lock yourself into one thing. But
Right,
that's
exactly,
one of the
yep.
action items that could achieve that. There might be multiple action items to
Yep.
achieve that objective.
Yeah, because I'm thinking there are a lot of things like pickleball courts. I know not everybody loves the pickleball courts, but if there were a way to demonstrate, hey, we're going to spend $400,000 on pickleball courts, but if we do tournaments and we make people pay fees and all these other kinds of things, we'll make a return on investment within 2 years if we do 3 tournaments a year for the next 3 years or so, because of all the fees we'll get back from all these people playing in these tournaments or whatever. I think, sometimes it's a hard sell when there's no, we want to spend $1 million on this and people don't understand why, or what we might be getting in return for it. So, there's a possibility of maybe just demonstrating that or better explaining things.
So what I hear you saying here is a communication
Yes.
objective,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
which is, again,
That
that
was-
is what you do.
My first one.
Oh, really?
That was what I wrote.
The communication objective is develop, consistently and clearly demonstrate the value of our other investments to the
Infrastructure. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I'm kind of freewheeling this. He's better at this than I am.
What is the value proposition?
Value
Yeah.
proposition.
I
Yes.
just had that discussion this morning when we were talking about the school district administrative office. We've got to articulate the value proposition of why people should support it. What is the value proposition for them to expend X amount of dollars?
Yep.
And we need to completely frame that out and articulate that in a way
Yeah.
that people can understand.
Yep.
That's relevant to them.
Yes.
It means something to them.
Yep.
And then get the
struggling with that.
information in front of them also.
Well, that's what I
Figure out
mean.
how to get it, beyond just a meeting that they can attend, but like push it to them somehow.
Yeah, because most people can't come to a meeting.
And those
Yeah.
are your
It's done
action
all the
items
time.
right there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with that though, because not everyone wants this. We keep saying like we want to spend this much money. Not everyone wants to do that.
No, of course. Yeah.
So it's hard to frame that in a very neutral way.
Yes. Yes.
But it's not neutral. See, the way it is the governing body decides if that's a priority. If it doesn't, it should not put it on there.
Yep.
Don't put up there's a balloon to float out there. Do not do that.
Agreed.
What you're saying is the governing body is this is a priority. And if it's not, do not put it on the strategic plan. So someone needs to make that determination, and that is the governing body.
Yep.
They have to do that at the end of the day. They'll take the feedback from boards and committees and from staff and the public. That's why this strategic plan is a public hearing beforehand. Even after we've done all the public engagement sessions, there's still a public hearing. Then people can say, I think you should take that down, that shouldn't be a priority, because these things should be our priority, with the limited resources we have, whatever it might be, right?
Yep.
But that's, because the governing body is the town council saying, these are our priorities. And again, if they're not, they should not put that on here.
Yep.
Agreed.
And that's why, Sarah, some of those goals can be structured as communicate. That's why I like Kate's goal here, framing it as a communication goal, right? Because regardless of how you feel, communicating the policy of our governing body is clearly important. And so the action items will be the tools, whether it's developing interactive spreadsheets.
Yep.
Or something that I haven't thought of yet, and that's hopefully the idea too, is to get that public, because we have so many people in this town who are so brilliant in so many different areas that we're not harnessing yet.
Mhm.
And that's what that public engagement is hopefully gonna do.
I like it.
Well, if Patrick was here, he'd be all about this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
He's gonna figure something out for us, I think.
Yes.
So.
We have access to video that we don't use. To be able to tell the story, right? Camera, video camera, cable, go and, if we're talking about a DPW facility, let's go to a video of the existing facility.
Yeah.
And then take video of other places that have, this is the model state that we'd like to have, this is what we presently have, here are the issues. And then people can look at that on the website when if they have time, if they're interested in looking at that. But right now, if they're asking them to make this big investment, they should be able to find out information on their own
Yep.
when they have time to do it.
Yep.
And we need to pump that out for them in
Yeah.
that format.
Yep.
It's almost like you were in Dave and I's conversation the other day. Do you guys have any other questions? Any other things that are kind of moving around in your brain right now that because like, now that you've mentioned that, that's something that we can kind of think on and bring to other sessions too.
Yeah, it was more the communications around things and like, I know we do a really great job explaining where tax dollars go, but I think explaining how we determine how budgets are built might be helpful too. Like, why is it so much bigger than this year than next year? Because we have all the budget documents, for example, online. And let's say there's a big, the firefighter overtime increase from last year is a big one. They might see that, but there's nothing in the budgeting documents that explains why there is that huge increase. And so it might be nice to do like a cover letter with all the departmental budgets and say, you know, here's this with the budgeting documents. It just sort of explains where that increase or decrease is coming from.
Yeah, they're all required this year to do PowerPoint presentations. The ones you don't normally get a presentation from,
Yep.
every department will do a PowerPoint
Okay.
presentation.
That'll be nice.
And they're in that schedule. Yes, because these other departments, you just never, my understanding is you never got those before. And there should be some explanation on there, and then those can be referenced on the website with the voiceover so that people can get a better idea of what we're asking them to spend money on.
Yep. Yeah, the more transparent and clear and the more information we can give people about where their tax dollars are going, I think is important.
So this is kind of out there, but I would like to see less print. We print a lot of paper.
I know
yes, me too, yeah.
we spend quite a bit of money on this.
Yeah. It's not even the dollars, it's just the point of it.
Yeah.
There's so much paper.
Yeah.
It's not an efficient medium any longer,
Right.
especially when you have electronic, you can search things, and it's just not.
Didn't the library do a QR code sometimes for like their agenda documents and documentation
We do
that I've
that now.
heard in the last meeting when I was watching the recording? Yeah, that
Yeah,
would be a
in the
great
back of the
idea.
room. So when you come
Yeah.
in, you can scan the QR code in the back of the room
Yep.
for the town council meetings, and we'll eventually get the rest of them on board as well to be able to do that, because I don't want to leave a stack of print there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple back
Yep.
there. We're trying to wean people off of that, but use the QR code
Yep.
or simply go to the website, and the information will be there for you.
It's cool because it goes to the most recent agenda automatically.
Nice.
So like anytime
Okay.
it's the same, this literal same poster will be back there every meeting, but it'll always take you to that meeting's agenda, which is really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, so we are, you know, in a future date, we can talk more about the digital initiative, but we have a number of things that we're moving forward on.
Cool.
You'll get an email soon with the video talking about our SharePoint transition and everything, so.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just recorded that this week, so. Anything else on the strategic plan?
I think that covers it, so I guess just from our end, you know, if you have ideas, if you have things that you want to submit forward, we'll talk about during our October meeting, just get everything together, send it your way, then do the same thing in February after.
For 91A, do we send everything to Joe or should we send it to Kirsten?
You can send it to me,
Okay.
CC Joe.
Okay.
Because we're gonna be putting together your agenda now. I
Yeah.
mean, he's been asked to do, he's a volunteer like the rest of you. It's easier for staff to put these packets together.
Okay.
And get these projects, get this material ready to go. He'll have to approve
Right.
the agenda, but we'll do that work now for him. It baffles me that you haven't had any staff support here forever.
Yeah.
And as I told you at you weren't here at the last meeting, that you're gonna have staff support in every meeting now.
Yep.
To be able to help you do the work you're supposed
That'll
to
be
be
nice,
doing. In any other town, they'd have a staff person here doing this, the work you need, and when you need stuff, you would ask us and we'd go get it for you. And I don't think you get notified of training events or anything like that either. There's training events that are available, in fact, a lot of them are going on right now in terms of budget, because it's the time for people on budget committees in other towns would be doing that. The NHMA conference is in November, and there's a lot of sessions on budgets,
Okay.
and if you want to go, we pay for that, for you to go.
Could you send?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
send it to us.
Yeah, you're gonna get that, because I'm your, right now, your staff person.
Okay.
So you're at my office, so you're gonna get all those training announcements now, we're gonna be
Perfect.
forwarding that to you. And if you register, we register you, we have a credit card, so we'll sign you up for those trainings, some of them are free, some of them cost money. but we will sign you up to do that.
Oh, I love that.
So what
Yeah.
I'll do is I'm going to add all of you to the NHMA member list. So
Okay.
you'll be able to manage your own communication preferences and develop your own account. So keep an eye out for that email. I'll send
Thank
an
you.
email confirming when that is. In the meantime, I'll send you information about the NHMA conference.
Yep.
And a link to their events and training calendars. So in
Okay.
the meantime, if there's anything you want to be involved in, you just let me know. We also, because we're members, we can download anything from the store for free. We don't have to pay for it. And that includes a lot of budgeting, books, and resources too. So
Nice.
I'll
I
get
didn't even know
I'll get
that
that
was
out
a
to all
thing.
of you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so just when you sign up your account, don't register yourself, let us do it for you, unless
Yeah.
it's a free course, you can just register
Yeah.
yourself, but other than that, let us do it, cause we'll pay for it with the town credit
Okay.
cards, so
Yeah.
that you're all signed up to do that. That's what I do with town councils, they weren't going to training either, you know, until just recently, so I said, look, these opportunities are out there, and this is how we educate ourselves.
And that's already budgeted within the town budget.
Within my budget, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have a budget.
So, yeah, that's why. What was,
You have a
we-
$100 budget.
Yeah,
did
we
we
did.
did we bring it back down to 1 or did we leave it at 100?
We
$100.
don't
Well,
need
last
it.
year was the fiscal year 26. You have $100.
Yeah.
It's important that you be given at least the opportunity to do the training that
Yep.
every other budget committee in the state gets to do. I mean, anyway,
There's so many webinars up now too.
Yes.
Their new policy
Okay.
is to actually.
at lunchtime they have webinars, so that's a good time to do it. They're noon to 1, a lot of them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you can do it anywhere. They're all virtual, of course.
They've
yeah.
even moved to posting their old ones on the website now,
Yep.
which they did not do up till last year. So it's really exciting. So you can go back and watch it. And if you sign up for something and can't make it, they send you the link for it
The
anyway.
recording,
Nice.
yes.
So, as we well know, because a couple of times in the past few months that's happened in our office. So yeah. All right. Cool.
Alright.
All right. If you're done with that, we can move on to the budget calendar,
Yes.
which you all have in front of you. So this is the budget calendar as was approved by the town council. They gave their consensus on this at the last meeting. You'll notice it does look a little different than in past years. So as Sean was saying, that Saturday session, it's gonna start at 9 a.m. and run till 3:30 p.m. It's gonna start with the town manager overview and then move through the big three, right? We're gonna have a break for lunch, so we will have lunch in there. We'll have a time for questions and comments and then a town manager wrap up.
Okay.
So this isn't going to be where the town manager presents every single tiny granular budget like in the past. We're not gonna have rec, we're not gonna have library there. It's gonna be the overview of the budget with the big three in there.
Mhm.
And then after that, you'll see basically 3 Mondays a month for November and December. So the first 3 Mondays of the month, weeks 1, 2, and 3, there are either town council meetings with budget workshops or just straight up budget workshops. Okay? These are going to start at 6 p.m. and correct me if I'm wrong, the budget workshop will be first.
Yeah.
In an effort to move y'all out of there and our staff out of there as fast as possible. So then at 7 p.m. we'll end up, or sometime shortly after 7 p.m. we'll move forward with the regular business on those days. 2 of them are strictly budget workshops with nothing else, so those days will have a little bit more time to be involved. You'll also notice on this that you know exactly who is coming when, so you'll be able to, obviously subject to emergency alteration, but for the absolute most part, you'll be able to know what questions to have when. You'll know what sections to scrutinize when, you'll know what conversations to have when to make you the best prepared for this. As we move through it, the hope is that all of the budget sessions are wrapped up. All the workshops are wrapped up for the most part in December, with one final one in January for specific requests.
Okay.
So that's where we're going to be discussing anything that you or the counselors deem needs a closer look or another look. And anything about warrant articles that we've either gotten in petitioned articles or any warrant articles that you'd like to pay closer attention to.
We're gonna be specifically soliciting public input on the budget webpage. Give an opportunity to use this link to ask questions about the budget, and pre-bold letters. Probably was before, we used that to quite a bit of them, we got a lot of questions, which was great. A lot of people didn't understand certain things, and we were able to answer those by responding back by email or making a phone call with them. So that's gonna be really important to use that tool now while we're going through the workshop process, and that helps prepare citizens for the public hearing process. You could do the same thing, of course, if you have questions about that, we prefer that you send them to us right away, so we can work on them and get you a response back as quickly as possible to you. So I don't think you've ever done that before in terms of the public, so that's gonna be a new thing that we're gonna be doing here as well.
Yeah.
Allowing for more public engagement in the budget process, not have to wait till the end.
And those questions won't be just answered in the vacuum to the person, they'll be aggregated and posted for everybody
Oh,
too.
good.
So they'll be up there, we'll build out the question section based on what people actually ask.
We won't be identifying the person who
No.
asked it.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll save the same person asking the same question
Yeah.
5 times,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
And everybody else will get some sense of what people are asking, it's like, yeah, I was thinking about asking about that too, and now I see the answer.
Yeah, and that's when, like, asking a question is different than public comment, right? Public comment,
Yeah.
name and address, blah, blah, blah. Asking a question is just asking a question. And then we post the answer for everybody to see, as well as answering that person directly. And it creates an archive for future years too, so what we do this year will help shape future years as well. As you can see, we included on here, like always, this has not changed, the deadline for the petitioned articles, when they need to be in by. There is a provision for an optional budget workshop, if you all haven't spent enough time together by that point in time. And then there is the big second budget hearing, the one where all those final things are nailed out on Monday, January 19th. So that is the big one right there. And if they can't sign, if there's changes that need to be made to the warrant, the town council will meet on Wednesday, probably just in here to sign the warrant. Deliberative session, everybody's favorite morning, Saturday, February 7th, but hopefully, and the goal, and there's a reason why we're doing all these things. And part of that is so that people don't stand up at the deliberatives and it be the first time they've engaged with the process, right?
Yep.
We all know, like, that's kind of people come at the end of the process and they're like, hey, I have thoughts on this, and I know you, cause I sat in your seat before, you're like, but we've been talking about this for 3 months. Well, they haven't.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's make them see the deliberative as the culmination of the process.
Yep.
And invite them in earlier.
Yep.
So maybe the deliberative won't be, maybe those motions to restrict reconsideration will come faster and furiouser. Yeah, and then, of course, the election on Tuesday, March 10th. Any questions on the budget season schedule?
I wish we had schools.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Amity and see
So-
when she can get those.
Okay.
I feel like I
They-
have,
I've seen the schools.
yeah,
It's up on their website already. Yeah.
I think that's where I got it.
What I will do then sometime next week, I'll just make like a consolidated list of both town schools and just our meetings in between, so you can just have one place to look at everything.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank
AI is your friend on that one.
Yes.
Needed both documents, it'll come out with it for you, just double check.
Yeah.
So it doesn't tell you September 11th is on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And you don't post that on.
Tell AI that you want to add calendar invites to each meeting too, and then we can add those to our Town of Londonderry board email addresses, and then it'll put it on our calendar on our phone if we have the email on our phone.
Alright, I'll make a note of that right now.
Yep.
Alright, anything else on budget season? Alright, I'm turning it back over to Sean for the next one.
All right, so this was a request by Councilor Paul, submitted an agenda request to the town council in regards to the governing authority of the budget committee, whether or not the town should adopt our provisions of RSA 3214. So the council asked me to put together what the options were, and I did that in sort of a white paper here that you have a copy of. I wanted to get it out to you in advance, I emailed it to everybody. Did you get it from me earlier?
Yes.
You did.
I did, yeah,
Good.
thank you.
I was worried because for something, your email sits on it, it doesn't highlight like the others, I'm like, I wonder if she's getting this, but, so anyway, this has also been sent to the school board chair and the superintendent of schools, so they're aware of it as well. And I wanted to give you enough time, this is scheduled for October 6th, so the general public doesn't have it quite yet. When the October 6th agenda packet gets published, that will be available for everybody else. So I don't know if folks have had a chance to read that. I outlined 3 different options: adopting the statutory provision making changes to, that's option number one. Option number two, they're not in any particular criteria in terms of order, but option one is that. Option two is the making changes to the town's charter, because we have exercised the home rule provisions here. We're one of 8 towns that have done that in 13 cities. And then, of course, there's option 3, which is the municipal code changes. As you can see, there's only really one reference to the budget committee, which is, I don't think I've ever seen this degree of brevity. There shall be an advisory budget committee elected on an at-large basis to staggered 3-year terms to consist of 7 members. It doesn't talk about what your charge is, responsibilities, nothing like that. If you look in the municipal code, all those boards and committees have a charge, responsibilities, things that they're supposed to do. And we should have that for you, like everybody else. That should be detailed in there. And that was the recommendation I made, to at least start that process to see if people like that and if further changes. I mean, obviously, anybody can pick any one of these options. So the council is gonna be discussing this on the 6th. I wanted to get it to you so you could opine on that if you wish to do so, as to what you would like to do. If you had any questions about this, I wanted to come here to be able to answer those for you. Just get your general thoughts.
Well, you guys just first to start off, especially under option 1, this is something that's been going in my mind, right? It was on the town side that the voters voted for this, for a potential change of the budget committee. So I know within, we adopt what it says in statute. Now that process, I would have to go through both the town and the school, no, just through the town side.
The way it reads is, if the town adopts it, all the political subdivisions within the town, if you have a village district, school district,
Right.
they have to comply with it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not a second vote over the school side.
And then if the first one is adopted, that means we're responsible for we would no longer be advisory only, we would actually be building the budgets and working with all of the departments and doing all of that stuff and presenting it. Yeah.
You'd be responsible for creating the budget, both the school and the town budget, and presenting it.
It would basically like 10 increase our workload by like 10-fold.
Depends on how
At
much
least.
make $120 million budget.
Right. A while.
If one of these options are adopted, we'd probably also want to ask to increase the size of the budget committee as well, knowing that there'd be an increased workload on each members, maybe.
But it's true, right, that options 2 and 3 are, so option 1 includes kind of the what and the how, like you adopt this thing and this is the responsibility you get. But options 2 and 3 are really the how, right? So here's how we can change things, but they don't state the exact change, right? So we
Right.
still would have flexibility. In other words, it doesn't mean that we would build and own the budget with every option. I think that's certainly with option 1, but with option 2 and 3, it sounds like we could have more involvement.
Yeah.
That's somewhere in between there.
Option
There
1
needs
doesn't
to
allow
be
for a
more
lot of
than what there
flexibility.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure,
It
for sure.
clearly is. I mean, this you don't even,
Yeah.
it doesn't even say what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. Oh, I know. Yeah, so, I mean, I really appreciate all the detail that was put in here about the sort of history and the, the different, like just facts related to each of the options. And I think that the recommendation that was made makes a lot of sense.
I like the recommendation for number 3 too. I think it gives us the most flexibility and it's the easiest way to change things. It allows us to change things a little bit, see how that goes. We can change it then a little bit more, see how that goes. Whereas, 2 requires the town to vote on everything too, because it's a charter amendment. And 1 is, we're now all in. There's not a lot of flexibility. It's a huge change all at once. I feel like 3 allows us to not be completely all the way in, but still have a little bit more authority if we want it.
I kind of see it as 2, 3, because it's easy,
Yep.
relatively. and voters tell me on one or two, because you'll need to vote for it, right?
But I
Tell me
would-
one.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, I do think though the point that the town charter is so brief, I mean, that, it's almost like we would wanna pursue 2 and 3 in parallel a bit.
Yeah, because we could do 3 without needing to, but propose 2 for like the March meeting. Because if the town already voted that said that they want us to have more oversight into the budget, that allows us to determine what that oversight looks like, maybe talk with the people in the community and what they really want from us, and then amend the charter appropriately based off of, you know, what people think the role of the budget committee should be, rather than what it says in this one law, essentially.
So I will say timeline wise, you're not, I don't know that you would make a charter amendment at the March meeting.
Okay, all
It
right.
is a very, very rigorous process defined by law that would have to start literally at the next town council meeting.
Okay.
You know, we are coming forward with 2 charter amendments this year.
Yep.
One of which is to just get rid of the transition language at the end of the charter, cause well, we transitioned to this charter in 1997, we're good with that chapter. And the other is to revise and modernize the taxonomy, so not change anything that's in there, but revise the taxonomy to be a more understandable standard.
Okay.
If you were going to pursue option 2, it would likely, or if you and or the council would want to pursue option 2, that would likely be a process that would end up going on the March 2027 ballot. Am I getting that right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
well, we could put this together pretty quick. I mean, we could probably just squeak it in if they wanted to do 2, that we would be just squeaking it in,
And then there'd be 3 charter amendments.
right?
Yeah.
But the idea is not to have too many charter amendments, because people
Yeah.
get confused. and
Yeah.
changes.
It's fair.
But this has to be built up. I mean, you need to have.
We need to have something, yeah.
Yeah, I mean. you
It
should
doesn't
be
even
able to
tell
have
us
it.
what it is we're supposed to be doing.
Right,
you know?
exactly. It doesn't say, you know, that you can ask for documents. I mean, obviously you can, that should be written in there.
Yep,
Similar to what you see in the statute.
yep,
You know, you should be able to request the things that you need. And ideally, we should put them in the format we can, eventually, when we change our, we're gonna talk about that in a few minutes, the software, and formats that you can use them to do your own modeling.
yep.
I mean, it's,
So what would happen with the library then? Like, because right now the trustees make that budget.
well, they actually don't. So what they do is they have to recommend a budget to the town manager. I'm the one who's required to recommend the budget
Okay.
within a certain period of time. So the budget that I present to the town council may not be the same budget that they've asked for. And the town council decides what its proposed budget's going to be. And if the library wants this, they may say, well, we're gonna give you this or this. And then you make a recommendation right now. Well, it doesn't even say that.
Mm-hmm.
We would make a recommendation on that we recommend instead of, you know, $1 million for the library, it's, you know, 950,000, whatever,
Yep.
whatever the number is. But it doesn't even talk about how you do that, that should be articulated in there.
To
Yeah.
give you guys a little bit of the history of the budget committee and how it functions, prior to the town charter being instituted, it was voted upon at the March town meeting in 1996 and went into effect in July 1, 1997. Prior to that, there was a 12-person advisory budget committee. So that budget committee going down to 7, that was part of the charter, and that was all that was incorporated into it. So I don't even know that you have a charter charge available. Most other committees have some sort of charge or rules or bylaws, but I know from, again, being where you sit, there are no rules or bylaws.
Yeah, yeah.
And so these are things that, regardless of what direction the council wants to go, we're gonna go with you anyway to kind of get all this codified.
Yeah, I'm gonna build this out,
Yeah.
even if the council's not doing any of these, we're gonna build out how we're gonna interact with you.
Yep.
So I'm gonna write that up anyway. And then, if they say do 3, I'm gonna write that up and I'm gonna get it back to you. Does this make sense? How should it be written? And then, that only takes a public hearing, so we make a presentation to the council and they approve it at the next meeting, and then it's in effect.
Okay.
So that could be done by the end of the year, if they wanted to. If they choose to do 4, we gotta move rather quickly to find out what those provisions are that we want, I mean, really quickly, be able to meet, because the way it works is we have 45, the 3 state agencies have 45 days to review it. And then there's a 7-day period by which we get the notice back that we have to have a public hearing, get it on the, it's a very complex process, and it's outlined in that statute that I outlined in there. And you really gotta map it out, because they couldn't make it more complicated than what they did. And try to figure out backwards time planning, and that's why I said, but if we're gonna do this, I gotta get this in front of everybody quickly.
Yep.
If that, otherwise you lose your options.
Yep.
There were highlighters and charts and
Oh, yeah.
digital timelines and AI involved in this, like trying to map out this charter process back. So what we did is we started, all right, here's when it has to be done. We moved backwards, and that's how we landed on the October 6th.
We have to tell the state agencies, when you send us the letter, date the letter this date. I don't care when you send it, but date it this date, because we only have 7 days, and if that doesn't fall on the time we have a meeting, or there's a whole, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy.
Like many New Hampshire laws, was very much made for 1950s communities of 3,000 people.
Right.
Yep.
So, again, this is an agenda item.
Yep.
You're not considered members of the public, so if you wish to speak on that, I presume the chairman's gonna allow you to do that if you wish to.
Yes,
When it comes up.
I guess, I mean, what's the temperature of the council on?
I really don't know. I don't know. Like, I haven't talked to them about it. So, I just put this together, they have it.
Right.
It's been reviewed by legal counsel, but they haven't chatted about it. I mean,
I like the flexibility that comes with 3, quite honestly.
Yes, like from each of you, I mean, where would you all want to see, which direction would you want to see the budget committee go into?
Up to them, to be honest, they need to go vote on it. Right, because they need to put on the ballot if they want to do one of these options, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And 3, they also need to vote on it. Tell me what you want me to do.
I think there are some potential, like, I think the potential conflict with number 1, just that could occur, is, I don't know. With number 1, I'm the least interested in, because I just think that might get messy in a different way.
Well, I guess now's the time to talk about it. What do you mean by messy in a different way?
Well, I just think, you have, today we have the budgets coming out of the different areas, right? If we suddenly said, no, that's not how it's going to work, these people are going to determine the budget instead, right? I mean, I can see that especially the first go round would be pretty interesting, I think, trying to work through that with those groups.
Well, I mean, other communities use it. I will say that other communities, their budget committees are set up like that, and there would be. It's not like we're, while it would be new for this community, we can lean on other towns that use that language and that operate in that way. But I think, Jason, to your point, the council has to decide how they want to, what our role is going to be moving forward.
Yeah. I'm elected this seat.
Yeah.
Tell me what we do.
I'm looking at number 1 too. There's a limit for the voters as well. So they can't change the budget at a deliberative session for more than 10% of the proposed budget, either probably upwards or downwards either. So if we say this is the budget, they can't change. Nobody can change anything up or down more than 10%, unless there's an override, which, as we know, overrides are pretty difficult.
No, to my knowledge, isn't the public only allowed to change the budget no more 10% one way or the other on deliberative? No.
They can do whatever they want. Yeah.
No, I thought it was a percentage. I don't think it was more steeper than 10.
Okay.
There is no such thing.
Yeah.
No, the voters, the way you have it right now, they can do whatever they choose to do
Yep.
at deliberative session.
And if we do 1, then they can't. So.
I learned something today.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
That's
It
why
is difficult
Yeah,
because the statute is confusing, because the statute has in there cannot adjust more than 10%, but it only applies if it's a statutory budget committee versus an advisory budget committee.
Yeah, you have
There's
to
also-
adopt that chapter.
Wow.
There's also different ways that, like, for example, if you have a vacancy, the council fills it, but if it's a statutory budget committee, you would fill it. So it's, but it's not clear. And that's why it takes a 6-page report to really kind of explain all those nuances.
And the council's discussing this at their next meeting, and
On
that's
the 6th.
October,
Yeah.
6.
Yep.
October 6th, okay. So I know I'll be there.
Unfortunately, it's under old business, so it's at the end of the night.
Yeah.
We're starting at 6 because we had 8 people to interview for the library trustees.
It took over an hour last time.
For 4.
For 4, yeah.
Is there any other discussion, or just thoughts from any of you?
Please,
All
if
right.
you do have them, oh, right.
I was just gonna say, it's hard to wrap my head around how feasible it is, or how beneficial it is to have us creating these budgets. I think with the plan of starting the budget process earlier, with us being involved from the start,
Yeah.
I think organically is going to allow us to have more input and more impact into the budgets without recreating or getting us locked into something like a statutory
Yeah.
thing. I agree with everyone else that the charter should be updated, the language should be a little bit more robust, and but I get nervous about adopting something like number 1.
Yeah, me too.
Will that be a public hearing for discussing the changes on Monday, for the next council meeting, or?
It's not, because it's, right now, there's
It's just-
nothing before them other than a
Right.
report, right?
Okay,
So if we had a proposal, okay, that these are gonna be the duties of the budget committee, that would be a first reading,
yeah,
and then they'd have a public hearing. And remember, you're not considered public, you're
Right.
part of, so you would be able to speak at those matters.
okay. So I plan on being there. If you, whatever thoughts that you have, if you'd like me to share them, if you wanna share them yourself, send them my way. We should probably just send it to the council now, so they can see what our thoughts are beforehand. Just between now and the 6th.
Yep.
Yeah, just so that they know where our thinking's at individually.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions on this? Alright, so we're good to move on, Sean, unless there's anything else that you have for this.
No, we're gonna talk about open gov here, but we'll do that in a little bit. But right now, we've got the unaudited FY 2025 budget end of year for you to take a look at. We presented to the council the other day. I'd like to get in a cycle where you actually get it before the council does it, and then, or at the same time, but at least you have a chance to review it. And if you wish to provide comment to the council, that would be more common in the town when there's a regular budget committee, not that you're in a regular budget committee, you know what I'm talking about. Right? You would have it, you'd be able to review it, and because that's part of what would normally be your job, is to review those, make sure that spending is where it's supposed to be, and if you have any questions about that, it also prepares you for the next budget too. So it's really an iterative process that we normally have. The biggest, if you look at the, we have, out of the $41 million budget that was appropriated, we spent just over 40 million with 629,000 left, or 1.5% of the budget remained unspent. And the biggest category for that was the insurance, health insurance. So that worked out pretty good for us there. Well, I shouldn't say pretty good, it was a pretty steep increase, but at least we didn't go over that,
Yeah.
and we saved some money there on that one. And then there's, different areas that you can see where some came under and some went over. Big focus is gonna be on legal expenses. I really need to get that number down. There's, we need to control the amount of legal that we're actually using, so it may not be absolutely necessary, and that can help us, I think, with that, because that's a lot to be spent there. We have some options that are free. We're a member of NHMA, we have their legal guidance, and I use them quite a bit. It's not free, it's part of a membership fee we get anyway, but it's unlimited in terms of that. There's limits to what that can do. You can ask a general legal question, they won't solve a particular problem, you have to have a legal counsel to do that.
Yep.
But a lot of it, if people simply read the statute, you don't need to call an attorney to do that for you.
Yep.
And then the other issue too is when it comes to developing contracts and things like that, we should be using what others use instead of trying to get legal counsel to create it from scratch for us,
Yep.
because that's expensive. But again, just reading the law most of the time, you can decipher what you need to do. Instead of just getting legal counsel involved every single time.
Yep.
And then using legal counsel for helping to make a public policy decision is not appropriate either. They're there to answer technical legal questions, but not to, they should not be used for that purpose. So we really need to try to control that piece moving forward. Water equipment repairs at the fire station, that's number 2. When that building was built, they were, I'll call it, some would call it value engineering, I would call it shortcuts.
Yeah.
Buy materials that were cheaper, and then you pay for that in the long run. What paying for it? Garage doors, shingles, rotting wood, things of that nature. I know there was a desire to get the number down, so hopefully people will approve it, but if in the long run, you're gonna pay a lot more through the life cycle of that asset, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do that. And that's where we're at with that building. And we are investing quite a bit of money into it. That's not all that needs to be done. That's alerting system, cameras and all those sorts of things. It didn't even deal with the roof.
Yep.
It didn't deal with the rotting wood on the fascia that needs to be done. That's another $200,000 that we don't have to be able to spend, unfortunately. And then, of course, the other item on there is the water funds that are available for water, and
Yep.
the water line is under construction on High Range Road.
Saw that.
Yeah.
I drive by it every day.
That will go to Royal, and we're presently in, the Attorney General's office is presently in negotiations with St. Cobain, and our attorneys are involved in that process. We're hoping for a resolution by November so that we can issue a change order that continue all the way up to Alexander.
Nice.
And then that would allow those neighborhoods to the west. St. Cobain has to hook those communities up, those streets and those houses. And then we, hopefully, if negotiations go the way we wanted, we'll have extra money available so that we can go east and deal with those neighborhoods, that honeycomb neighborhoods that have very high concentrations of PFAS. So that's kind of an update on that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then revenues came in very well, but a lot of it had to do with motor vehicle registrations is one of those, and the sale of town property, that was that the Wofford Gilchrist there, so that's being put aside for conservation. But revenues came in $4.1 million higher, again, 1.9 of that, half of it is that sale of town property there. And motor vehicle revenues came in very strong, which was good, building permits were up.
Where would the land use change tax hit here?
Let's see. Let me scroll down through here, scan through. I don't know where he put that, it's not yield tax, that's for trees. He might be just putting that under the regular general property taxes.
Okay.
That's probably where he puts it here. Yeah. I don't see it specifically listed out. So you don't see the DRA forms until the end anyway, right? You know, the MS forms we're talking about? Yeah, see, you should, all that stuff should be available too, the MS1 form and all that, yeah. That's what I'm saying, when we totally change, no matter what happens with option 1, 2, or 3, we're gonna be changing all this stuff. You get to see all those documents, which will really help you. And those are what you should be using to benchmark. If you wanna go look at other communities in the state, they're all posted. You can go look at it, and that would help you do some of that if you wanted to do that.
They're all on the DRA website, so
Yes.
you can go on and see.
But we should provide you links to that, you can get the documents for it and say, here you go, here's, and you would say, look, can you get these other committees for us, which ones do you want, we get it for you, and get it, so you're volunteers, you got enough stuff going on, use us to do that kind of work for you.
Okay.
That's what staff's supposed to be helping you out with anyway, so you're not going to scavenge around trying to find things, you know, and we know where they are. So that's sort of the, where the overview of where we're at. The sewer funds in there, outside detail funds.
I'm at an age where I have to take my glasses off and before I read it.
Justin does like his tiny font.
I know.
He does like it. Okay, so if you don't have any more questions on that, I just wanna give you a quick, like, 60,000 foot overview of this OpenGov that you've heard us speak about. OpenGov is what's called an ERP. It's a resource platform for all forms of municipal governance. It covers many different areas, but the areas we are most interested in now are asset management, permitting and licensing, and finance and payroll. And I'm gonna take you through this and why we're interested in that. So this is part of our broader digitization program. Trying to get everything off paper, because if this building burns down, I believe you said we're toast, was that a phrase?
Yes, you're done.
So,
Literally and figuratively.
literally and figuratively. A lot of our records are still on paper. And so as we digitize these records, it's beneficial to get them in a format that is most advantageous for those using the records and for the taxpayers. And that's where this comes in. So the first one is an asset management program. Currently, we do not have any sort of asset management program. And what asset management means is just basically keeping an accurate inventory of what we own, the condition that it's in, what work has been done on it, how much it's cost to do that work, and what its life cycle is, basically.
Maintenance schedules, depreciated value.
Exactly, yeah. So that includes things like facilities, obviously those are the easy ones to think of, vehicles. But it also includes our roads, our wastewater systems, our sewer systems, our signs, our recreation facilities, our playgrounds, literally everything that we own, down to the paint on our crosswalks, belongs on this asset management plan. And so since we don't have one right now, it's actually really, we're gonna look at that as a positive because we don't have anything to port into this new system. We're going to be building it from the ground up. And so if you go back and take a look at the council meeting video from the 15th, OpenGov came in and did a little bit of a presentation on what it means. They used the example of like road maintenance, because it's really great, because one of our largest expenses every year is road maintenance. I don't know those of you who remember when Janusz was still here, he used to come up every year during budget season and say, this is how much it costs to do the roads, and it was a number, to do the roads right, it would be a number in like the millions, and he's like, and you give me $650,000, so here's what you're getting next year. That's what he did every year. But it will help us show the difference between, all right, say we shim and overlay this road, here's how much we're gonna spend, here's how much longer it'll last. Versus here, what if we completely redo this segment of road? Here's how much it's gonna cost and here's how much it will last. And it will let us do that cost benefit analysis. It will let us track all the maintenance on all of our vehicles. How much time our people spend working on those vehicles. The conditions of every door, window, everything in our buildings. And track our maintenance logs and put in requests for work orders. So both within the town government, but also from the public too. Somebody notices a stop sign got hit, snap a picture on your phone, type a few keys, boom, you put in a work order for it. And it goes into the queue. So it will let us keep much more accurate records of the conditions of things like roads, for example. It's going to involve taking all our roads, breaking them down into segments that make sense, and surveying the condition, doing what's called a PCI pavement condition inventory. These things are going to take time. This is a long-term project. We're going to be starting it very, very soon, and we're talking 3 to 5 years till it's all done. But we're talking probably 8 to 10 months till usability. For what we're going to start in. We're going to start with some of the more basic, simpler things, and then expand out from there. We think there's a good potential there's a state grant that we can apply for part of this for stormwater and sewer, so we're not doing that right now. We're gonna look at signs and roads mostly to start and see what we get from there. So that is the asset management one. That's what I call our first silo.
The big thing about it is data. We don't have
Yep.
good data. We can see how many police calls, we have any fire calls. You can't, how many staff hours does it take, and how many pieces of equipment does it take to do all the catch basins in the town? And where are those, and what is the status of those? And I don't have any visibility in any of that. So I have a dashboard now that will be able to tell me, This is how much time we're spending, because when a crew goes out there, it gives me the hourly rate of those employees, plus the fringe benefits, the cost of the truck, and every time it gets deployed out there, they have a laptop out there, they show up on site, hit a button, have arrived on site, now they've cleared the site. We were using A up there, so they literally just talk into it, yeah, catch basin's half full, 2 layers of brick, and it looks like we missed a lot of the mortar. We need to do a maintenance order on this one to do a check on that within 3 months, and it's gonna need some replacement, and puts it in that system, then the supervisor signs off on that, and then you move on to the next one. So it really speeds that up, and you have real-time data that's going, you have none of that, you can't see any of that, right? And if we do chip sealing or crack filling, I can extend the life of this asset this long, and then we can also look back that it actually worked like it's supposed to, and have all those data points. We don't have any of that. We don't have a plan with that pavement condition index. We don't have any of those things that modern municipalities have to be able to manage millions of dollars of infrastructure there, and we literally have millions of dollars, 137 lane miles of roadway here, that we just don't have we have no management system to manage it. Not to mention the inventory is kind of important because things walk away and disappear.
Yep.
And if and right now we don't have an inventory of what we own, so we're sort of out on thin ice. When I left where I was, we had a major case of theft, internal theft that went on, fuel and tools and everything else, because we had no inventory. They were just finishing out the implementation of their asset management program, and they did all the roads, all the guardrails and everything else, but they hadn't got the small tools and things like that. So anyway, those things were kind of important to get accountability of what we own and be able to provide good data to the town council, the budget committee, and of course the voters.
Yeah.
As to where their money's being spent, why, and are we doing it the most efficient way for it to be done? Because we found out up there that if we went and did crack filling and then the chip sealing cost this much, road reconstruction cost this much, just to make it simple, right? We had all the numbers to be able to do that, and we were able to demonstrate that we could extend the life of this road basically forever if we chip sealed it every 10 years at a very small cost compared to the cost of reconstructing it. And that test is underway. UNH Technology Center actually came up and did the training for our folks, made a presentation to the council, and showed the numbers and how that actually works. So there's real value in doing that, because roadway reconstruction is super expensive. It's like $1 million to $2 million a mile. But when you're out there doing chip sealing, it's $72,000 to $130,000, a huge difference to go and chip seal that roadway to make it last that much longer. And so they switched their strategy to a pavement management plan to do that. We need to do the same thing here.
Yeah.
Be smarter, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, all that data will present all kinds of opportunities, I think, to like ask questions, but also just make improvements.
It'll help us make decisions about where we should lease versus where we should buy. It'll help us make decisions. It'll help us have a clearer picture of the value of our assets, because right now we can track some depreciation, but we don't always catch, we catch appreciation when we repave a road, but we don't always catch the depreciation when the condition declines, right?
Yep.
So this will let us do that. You think back to the conversation about the condition of the playground and the replacement cycle. It'll let us build regular replacement cycles for equipment and materials that make financial sense based on data. And not based on getting to a point where everybody's like, hey, wait a minute, we didn't look at this for a while, we should look at it now.
Yep.
That's not data, that's not evidence, and this is gonna shift us to evidence, so.
And in these buildings too.
Yeah.
These are assets too, and they have the child assets, the HVAC systems and all of that. How old's the HVAC system? Oh, I don't know. How many times have we maintained it? Oh, I don't know. We have no records.
Yeah.
And all those records are now kept in. We've been over that. We fixed that in the last 5 years 10 times. The money we spent to fix it, we could have replaced the system, because it's at the end of its lifespan anyway. And there's more efficient systems that you could replace it with, and then what is the the life cycle and operational costs of that are that much less. So it allows you to do some planning and some programming to deal with that which you have.
Right now, we deal with a lot of costs in the moment rather than the costs over time periods, and that's back to actually cycling back to the beginning of this conversation. When we're talking about the strategic plan, it's that idea that when we think about what a cost is, we need to think about that cost over longer periods of time rather than dealing with immediate needs, and that will help us get the best deals. help us make the best decisions.
And make some things more predictable.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the more you flatten that curve, because I mean, we all know costs don't go down, right? They just don't. But the more you keep that steady and the more you flatten that curve, the easier it is to forecast. So.
You don't know and I don't know. We have HVAC systems in all these buildings. I don't know when they're, at least programmed to die, right? When they're gonna fail, right? So we don't even know. We have no plan when we're gonna replace them. So we've got none of that. We need to have that. You need to have it, I need to have it, so we know.
And so after we start the asset management, we're getting into the one that, not that asset management isn't super exciting. Asset management is super exciting, but it's the one in my brain that's the biggest, so I'm a little bit like, right, let's consider over here and I'll get excited about that later. Permitting and licensing. Now, this is the one area that's going to have the absolute most direct impact on workflow and employee efficiency in this building. Because currently most of our permits and licenses are done on paper. And we store them in paper, and people have to come in to do them, and they have to go downstairs to pay, and then they have to go back up to turn in a permit, or they have to go to fire to get the permit, come over here to pay, and then go back to fire. I don't know if you know that that's happening, but that's happening. So this is all done, it's really intensive on the part of the taxpayer and really intensive on the part of the staff. And also it's not transparent, like you drop off a piece of paper, what happens to that piece of paper next? You can't check on your status, you can't check on the update.
Yep.
Like I have a better idea of, how much, when I'm getting my Facebook privacy lawsuit payment than people do about when they're getting their building permits. And so that is what the system will fix. So it creates profiles for everybody. It creates, all the contractors will be able to create their own profiles and accounts. And for other towns that use it, they'll use the same account. So it'll be easier for the builders. And we're not just talking about the big developers, we're talking about the electricians, we're talking about the plumbers, we're talking about the people who live and work in the community.
Yeah.
We're talking about the residents who want to pull a permit for their deck. This will guide them through that step by step. They won't have to come into the building department necessarily and wait through a 4-person deep line, because I assure you that's how it looks in there every day right now. My office is next to it. It is a constant hubbub of noise to the point where sometimes I have to put on noise canceling headphones to get work done. It's going to make things move faster. It's going to be more transparent. People will see exactly where they are. We'll be able to communicate with each other electronically. And every department that uses permits, so building, planning, engineering, town manager, recreation, we're all going to be on the same page. And fire, yep. But even down to, things I was thinking about today, like our raffle permit, I'm like, gosh, this will be so much easier. Like, there's a bug in the button that they have to submit them. This will be so much easier when it's on OpenGov, right? And any requests are going to be so much easier when they're on OpenGov. These are this is the direction in the future. And so we are going to be moving into that after we start asset management. So again, that is about 6 to 8 months till initial operability, and we're going to start with building, and then we're going to move out from there. So there's going to be some, they have some really cool AI tools to help us build out workflows, not data mining, but saying like, all right, how do you want to do this? It helps us determine the order of questions and how we move people through the process. And they actually have a tool that's, they're going to be able to help us take our paper forms and bring them into there.
Nice.
So, and the nice thing is that these things will all start speaking to each other too. That's also important.
Yep.
Like I said, at a future meeting, we'll talk more about our SharePoint transition and how it will impact you guys. But this is all linked to that as well.
Okay.
So, and then go ahead.
I was just gonna say I like it because it's something that the people are going to feel.
Yes.
Right, like it'll
Yeah.
really impact the population.
They're going to be able to go onto a Londonderry NH OpenGov page and be like, all right, I guess I want to do this, and kind of type it in, and it'll direct them where to go. It's really cool.
Now they don't
Okay.
know, and they're spending so much time running around. So, you want to build a house? Okay. Then they ask you a bunch of questions. Okay, it takes you down this path or that path, and then ask you a few more questions. Okay, well, you're gonna need a fire permit for that. Oh, I do? Okay, so here's how you do that, and then walks you through that. And right now, I get phone calls. Like, I put in a permit, I don't know what's happening to it, so I have to go ask people. They have to try to find it. Now I can look in the system. Oh yeah, Mr. Jones, I see, you submitted your application, it's sitting on this person's electronic desk. and it's been there for 2 weeks, why is that? So now I can put in there, you know, and we can, of course, the applicant can see that too.
I was
where
gonna
it
say, they
is.
won't even need to call you, they'll
Right.
be able to go in and be
But
like,
some people
why
don't
has
do
this
that.
been on the desk?
Right, and so it
Yeah.
allows all that management, which we don't have that management right now. We don't have the
Yeah.
ability to do that, which is rather unfortunate, so.
And
this
we
is-
are, yeah, and it's not for lack of trying, like I
Sure.
said, that department is swamped all day, every day. It is bonkers in there. And so every little bit that people can self-serve will be able to move the bigger, more intensive projects that need their attention, that need their detail orientation, that need their I don't wanna say hand-holding in a bad way, but need them to walk them through every step. That's gonna be able to enable them to do that.
If you've never put a shed, it's like, I don't know how to, what do I have to do? So it's gonna walk you through it. And you can do that in your phone on a Saturday or Sunday. Okay, you gotta do this, you gotta have that, okay, it's gonna need dimensions, okay, here's a drawing program, and this is how you write it in there, and it's designed to help people through the process.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to figure out, well, go read this regulation, well, how am I supposed to do that? It's better to ask the applicant questions, and then it solicits them and puts
Yeah.
them through the process.
Yeah.
Workflow.
And at any point during it, you know, there'll be catch points where it will be like, okay, now you need to get this approval, so stop. When you get this approval, you can move on. It's really cool. And the option that we're doing with them is one that will be able to work. We'll be able to fully customize it for our process. So, you know, I'm gonna be the project manager for this whole overarching conversion to OpenGov, but we have people in charge of each kind of silo as well. So our new deputy director of public works will be he'll be kind of in charge of the asset management. We have Christine Wally in building, who'll be taking charge of the permitting licensing because she used it some in Salem before she came here. And the third piece that we're really looking intensively at right now is the finance and payroll system. So as you might or may not know, we're currently using a system named New World that is best described as Old World. Everybody says that their payroll system is the worst, except New World is actually kind of does not meet our needs in every way it could not meet our needs. And part of that concern is that at some point in the near future, it's going to stop being supported. Once a software like that, we ran into this issue with the website, right? That's why we did the big website transition last year. Because the platform is almost no longer supported, and that means at some point you stop getting security updates.
Yep.
And we cannot it just can't exist that way.
Yep.
So we are now currently trying to plan out that transition several budget cycles ahead. So the idea being that once we move over to it, we will actually have our finance and payroll integrated, which they are not now. And we will have a much smoother function, and it will allow our department heads and our staff to take a much more active role and involved role in the budgeting process, and it will allow folks like you guys to see the budget process, see the status in real time.
Nice.
Again. So we're going to have to move from our system.
Yep.
There's no chance of us not. We're trying to start early and make the most informed, careful decision we can, and we think that the OpenGov incorporating it into that platform and having them all speak to each other is going to be the most beneficial experience.
Yep.
In the past, I know in Londonderry, before Sean was here, we get a little piecemeal, right?
Yeah.
We like shiny things, and we'll get this shiny thing, we'll get that shiny thing. And so we're trying to really make these decisions based in facts now. And so that's what we're working on.
I think it really makes sense to integrate payroll into OpenGov too, considering a lot of the budget is payroll related, so like salaries and benefits and things like that. So it makes sense to kind of have that all integrated into one platform.
You know, one thing we do need to do before we do this is we need to get over to the GAS. We need to change what Sean mentioned earlier,
The budget.
the budget numbering system. We need to modernize that, and
It has
so
to
we have
comply with the state law.
we have a plan to do that before we make this before we're forced to make a transition to a new. platform.
Target date is that the FY '28 budget that starts in July of '27 will be in the new system.
So
You don't
go
want to start
live.
mid-year.
Yeah.
That's the date by which the new budget will be, and they will be operating in that system. So it's all the backwards time plan to build up to get to that.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a bit of work, and I only have limited staff up there, so the sooner we can get them on board and start working on rebuilding all those new codes, the better.
And so there'll be a finance lead in that silo as well. So, you know, this is gonna be interdepartmental in some cases, you know, the first two phases are gonna have a lot of involvement from GIS. A lot of it's tied into our mapping, which makes all those GIS warrant articles and support that you have supported over the years even more valid, right? And then the phases 2 and 3 will also have a lot of involvement from IT, because then we need to take those and integrate them in with our current systems. But the end result of this is going to be a better bang for buck for the taxpayer, a more streamlined experience for the taxpayer, so they're saving their time as well, saving staff time, and more transparency. That's basically what it boils down to. Did I miss anything on that?
That covers it.
All right. Any questions on OpenGov?
No question, just it's nice to see, you know, the town moving this direction. It'll be easier for us to do our jobs and for the people in town to get the resources that they need and for you all to do your jobs. All I can say is that I bet Patrick is bummed this would be a meeting that he
I
would have.
know.
I
I
know.
was thinking the same.
I'm
Yeah.
sure I would put money on the fact I'm gonna get a call from him saying, so can I come in and talk about this? Which I love. He's kind of a fellow
He
AI
wants to stay
nerd,
under the
so
hood,
great.
which is fine, we can
Yeah.
let him do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, great, like awesome. That's the thing, like great.
Yep.
You wanna come in and come up with ideas, cause I have a couple of scenarios in which I wanna use AI in that I'd like to pitch his help on. So yeah.
He would love that.
Yeah, pick his brain.
Right. He came in to talk about something else with me, total aside, and we ended up talking about AI for like 25 minutes instead. Was not at all why you came in, it was great. And then the last thing we want to talk about is the Community Services Grant Program. So this year, in the past and in the code has delegated the decisions for dividing up that funding to the budget committee, but technically it isn't actually the budget committee or the council's decision to put that budget forward. It's the town manager's budget.
Oh.
So what we're going to do this year, rather than have you guys make these decisions based on information that you just kind of get put in front of you, we're gonna bring them in, we're gonna interview them as necessary. So Sean gets an idea where these funds are going, what these organizations are, asks some really deep probing questions about the services. Going to build out the budget from there, based on the needs, and then going to bring it in front of you as a part of the overall budget.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you will then opine on that at that point in time, rather than build that budget.
Okay, got it.
And there will be grant contracts, we
That's
don't have
my
any
next sentence,
contracts
yeah.
with any of these folks.
We've just been
Lots of
sending
services.
checks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And until you have to revoke that, and I had to do that where I was up there and we had grant contracts. So we were able to do that because you're not meeting what you said you were gonna do, in fact, you lied to us. And we're taking back the taxpayer funds from
Yeah.
that. So we had grant contracts, you don't even have that, so you don't have any ability to do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of important.
So we are gonna put out that call for applications tomorrow we're gonna reach out specifically to all the organizations that have received funds from us in the past 3 years. The application deadline is going to be quick. It's going to be October 10th. So then we're gonna do the blast out as well for that. So it's going to go out tomorrow. I'm gonna reach out and kind of personally harangue the people at each of the organizations. Justin's been getting some inquiries. So you'll see that budget come in front of you and it will kind of reflect, it'll be presented as part of the overall budget.
Yep.
And this is as part of us kind of looking at every line differently and looking at every line, building it based on the need rather than trying to take something and fit it into something, a shell that's already there.
Yep.
So,
All right. Well,
Smart.
that's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
alright, any other questions on these things? Alright,
All
I'm
right.
done, my voice is gone, so
Yeah.
I'm out.
Well,
you.
Sean,
Thank you.
thank you
Thank
so much for coming. Got a lot to think about for next meeting.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so Joseph, I'll be in touch with you
Yes.
about the agenda next week.
Yeah.
And then expect emails from me with some of those links to the NHMA, the DRA, and all those things that you can use.
Perfect.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's get into the liaison reports then. So I've got some for schools I didn't know. Kate, Nicole, if you guys would want to talk about the school tours, anything of note that we should keep in mind going into budget season, or Just
They didn't mention any big ticket items that we should be aware of. We saw the new boilers in the high school. There was a lot of repainting.
Impressive.
Yeah, a lot of repainting, carpeting, those types of like surface type stuff. We didn't hear a lot of, sometimes they'll say, oh, we replaced the HVAC or the roof. It was just really the boilers for big ticket items in the schools this year. But over the summer, it was a lot more surface level nice things. So
Yeah, a lot of cosmetic.
yeah, there a lot of landscaping
Upkeep.
too that they did
Yes.
over the summer as well.
They get that like little robot yet.
I asked them about that. They said yes, it works great. They love it.
There you go.
Yes,
Can't wait for the ROI on that.
I know. Yep. So that was cool. I was like, I wanna watch, and he was like, email me anytime. I haven't emailed him yet, but I was just like kind of nerding out a little bit about it. So, but yeah, but nothing of like ginormous note
Right.
that stood out to me. So
Okay, then I'll just give quick from the meeting on September 2nd. So they had received some donations for playground upgrades from the PTAs. So from the North School PTA, we received $85,000. From the Matthew Thornton PTA, they received $41,325. That's a total of $126,325 in donations from the PTAs for playground upgrades. Then a note on some federal funding that was temporarily frozen, 67 weeks over the summer. These funds are now frozen. These funds were used for resume professional development. Professional development and AP testing support. So they had been covering these costs within the operating budget during the freeze, so now they're able to access those funds again. And that's what I have for schools.
Okay.
Do you have anything additionally?
I don't have anything to add, but I just wanted to mention that the spelling of my name on the agenda has one extra R.
Oh,
I
I'm
will.
so sorry.
That's okay.
It's been like that for every single agenda.
That's all right. I keep meaning to mention it.
Sonar.
Yeah, I know people around here especially think it's strange.
yeah.
All right, well, I will definitely make a note of that. I'm shocked you just told me.
Oh, well, it doesn't really matter to me,
Yeah.
but I'm because I'm looking right at it.
Yeah. All right. So then let's move on. Town council.
I got nothing.
All right. Town hall.
So we've talked a lot about what I went over in my meeting with them last week, the potential change in the budget committee, the meetings of the department heads being kind of staggered throughout the budget season, that we'll get our budget books before the Saturday meeting. We talked about maybe a warrant for the water fund, where we're thinking about breaking that out into 12 different phases, and getting grants and money from DENS to improve water in the town. We talked about a transport fund potentially as being one of the warrant articles for traffic counting with radar, collecting data, doing an engineering analysis, and getting grant funding for that as well potentially. Increasing for the IT capital reserve, especially for the finance software and all this new stuff that we want to be pushing forward to. The school district and the building, that's probably going to be a warrant article that's coming up too because of where we want to put it around here. And potentially hiring 2 part-time people in HR to do benefits and background checks. Right now we don't have anybody doing background checks that's specifically hired to do that for the town, so we're gonna do that going forward. So and a new template for justification and cost of new things that you want to purchase. So if you want to buy something, why, how much is it going to cost, and a justification for all of it.
New staff. That's
New
what it is.
staff, that's right. Okay, staff for that. Yep.
So that narrative you talked about, you're gonna have a narrative, you're gonna get it, even though they may recommend it to me and I may deny it, but you're still gonna see them, so you
Right.
know what departments are looking for. So you're gonna have all those into a memorandum.
That's what it was. It was the staffing stuff. Yep.
All right.
And that's what I got.
Perfect. Sarah, DPW.
So first, I want to apologize to Dave Wally. I completely forgot.
Oh,
Completely forgot. So I'm gonna send him an email tomorrow.
All right.
So,
Do you
yeah.
want, since we're on you, do you want to do CIP as well?
Yeah, I can do that. I attended those. So CIP we wrapped up with the schools. We talked about that warrant article thing.
Yep.
and that we placed it on higher priority just because the whole leasing thing with the
Yeah.
current SAU office is coming quick.
Yep.
And there was something about public safety that we rated higher too, because we discussed the schools.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about it. It was like over a month ago. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no worries.
And then we're gonna do our final tally and scoring end of this month. I think
Mhm.
next week. But I'll be in Vegas for a trade show, so I can't attend. But yeah, one final one. And you all are all welcome to attend. It's kind of open to the public as,
Okay,
as
cool.
far as I'm aware. So you
Thank
can give your input if you want things rated higher or not. So that's all I got.
All right, thank you. Ryan, fire.
Yeah, we touched on a little bit earlier with the fiscal 25 results. Fire was one of the departments that came in over budget, but they were pre-approved special projects that drove most of that variance. Security system for the fire station, and emergency repair for the station's alerting system, which was over $100,000. So far this year, they are tracking on budget overall. A couple line items of concern, training, which we talked about a lot during the budget season, trying to right size that line,
Mhm.
but they're really focused on getting those their staff the training they need, and vehicle repair
Mhm.
expense line with aging fleet continue to be that's something they're going to have to monitor. Luckily, they're way under in overtime. Surprise, surprise. 4 open positions: fire chief, 1 firefighter, dispatcher, and a part-time dispatcher.
All right. And then planning board, Ryan and Kate.
I have not been attending planning board. No.
All right. And then Patrick isn't here for library, so.
But the library trustees haven't had a meeting. The one that they were supposed to have at the beginning of September was canceled, and it's moved to next week, so there's no update anyway.
There you have it.
All
Yep.
right. And then so.
Anything
know
for
what-
police?
Nothing from police.
Okay, cool.
No, and then public comments. Seeing no public, just won't open. Won't close it. All right. So that's all. I have some things to get off to you guys in the next couple of weeks. And then again, if you have any thoughts for the direction that the budget committee should be going in, if you want to attend the meeting yourself on October 6th, go ahead. If there's anything you want me to say to the council, let me know. Regardless, I think we should email counselors ahead of time just so they know where our minds are at.
Sure.
Right. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor of adjourning the meeting at 8:33 p.m. Say aye.
Aye.
All right. Chair votes in the affirmative. Good night, everybody.